Dunk and egg, baby.
What's up, everybody?
We're so back.
Sunday night.
Post
man.
episode 1, immediately post viewing. We are recording this episode. It's been maybe 5 minutes since we finished watching, and it was so hard for me not to blurt out my thoughts for the entirety of this episode, but I was cracking up.
Or to pause and rewind and watch scenes.
Right. I was cracking up at some point, so you may understand how I feel about this episode, but I am so excited to talk to you about it.
Hope everybody listening is feeling as excited as we are. Like
Surely.
Hannah just said, we both just finished the episode. Episode 1, The Hedge Night of the Seven Kingdoms here. What'd you think?
I feel like I'm like kicking my feet, like so excited. I thought it was great. I thought it was excellent. I thought that it is everything that we hoped it would be, particularly from an episode 1, season 1. I felt like we were very true to the book. I'm excited to break that down as we go throughout the week. But aside from things kind of being shuffled and rearranged from a timeline perspective, we were pretty on the money from what we wanted to see, except for Steely Pate. I'm sorry. Yeah. We were pretty on the money.
I was right about that.
You were.
I had a feeling he'd be... Anyway, go on, please.
You were spot on about that. But we're still, we're pretty close to what we thought could happen in episode 1. And I think that from an adaptation standpoint, that is super fun. At the same time, like I said, I was laughing my head off at the Lionel Dunk situation.
The Baratheon tent.
So we got this true to the narrative story.
I don't even know where to start to talk to you about all this.
With a bunch of incredible surprises between Arlen's flashbacks.
Yeah.
It was excellent. It was excellent.
The projectile shitting at the tree.
I did not like that part, but the rest was excellent. That was worse than I imagined it could be. It was worse. I looked away.
It was jarring.
It was sacrilegious.
It was sacrilegious.
That's how I felt. I was like, we had this cold open. We had this, that's what it's called, right? We had this situation where...
Yeah, it's fateful. His
guy's dead.
His guy's dead. Yeah,
and then we get the music. Then we get the theme song. The theme song.
The speech.
And then he does that. I was like,
cutaway. It starts with the cutaway to the smacks. It starts to chip away at a little bit of that nobility.
Yeah.
That sort of grandiosity of GOT.
Yes.
But I think you're really saying that it's sacrilegious because it was in conjunction with the swell of the theme music.
It was messed up. If I hadn't known about that.
You're probably getting really excited when it was swelling. You're like, okay, now there's going to be like a mini, maybe a title card or something. And then it goes to that instead. And then Dunk's eye contact looking straight up toward that robin.
I didn't watch it.
Oh, you didn't?
Nope.
Well, so after
I saw like half a step of it.
After the tree which we all obsessed over early on, LOL to all of us, was framed and juxtaposed with that imagery, which you can, like Hannah said, we'll look into it after we have a little bit more time with these conversations throughout the rest of the week. But the tree framed with the dunk and the spray and then the eye contact right after too. Super heavy-handed.
I'm really glad I knew that was coming because I hated every second of it.
I kind of wish I didn't know it was coming now.
Really?
Yeah. But I have to say complete redemption immediately following, because that's when the title did drop and the music started to swell, and I was overwhelmed with the sense of a story beginning. Not a TV show that looks cool and that's high budget, that is clearly being very seriously taken, and it's going to be a long ride. Like, when someone gets exposed to a new TV series and they're like, how many seasons are there?
Right.
And you're like, there's 5, and they're like, yes,
right.
I'm going to lose half my life in this. Like, this is worth spending time on. That's not the impression I got. I got the impression that a fantasy story was unfolding, but really just a story was unfolding. And so I really need to think more about that moment with the tree.
I hated it.
It's so interesting. I know that there's something there that Ira Parker / maybe the director of the episode, maybe the writer of the episode, maybe all of them together. Maybe there's some kind of overall vibe, some kind of overall, for lack of a better word, some kind of flourish, some kind of message in that juxtaposing all of those elements and then immediately moving into what I just said is the sort of meat of how the energy of the show carries from that moment forward.
Yeah. I think that they wanted to be, my guess is, just a bold exclamation at the beginning of the episode, because we have this very like somber open, just this bold,
maybe just to disorient us and pull us into a whole new thing.
Like, this is different. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not familiar with this. This is new, so buckle up. And I guess a nod to what will eventually play out with this more lighthearted kind of slapstick kind of style. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like I said, I don't personally care for that kind of thing because I'm a girl. It was like nice, you know? Like, I know it was like really crude. I was like, I personally don't care for that.
Poor Peter. Two humiliation rituals in one episode.
Yes. Over top of the Game of Thrones theme song. Like, can we not have some decorum? But at the same time, I do like the direction that they went in, and like the reason behind why they did it, I'm totally cool with it. Like, I totally get it. I'm
just not sure I'm smart enough to pick up on it yet.
Well, it may unfold.
I think there's layers to it.
Yeah, it may unfold throughout the season. So
that's true.
Man, but
I just want to ask you again. Sorry, what did you think? I mean, holy. What?
I know. Well, you know what I really thought carried this episode was the score.
Yes,
the music in this episode
so powerful.
Completely just, it transported you away.
It was so powerful.
It was medieval. It was Western. It was storyful.
Do you remember that first cutaway after Dunk leaves camp and he's going back to the tourney? It felt like I was watching Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda mixed with True Detective Season 1.
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't even know that existed within the metrics, the area of Ashford Meadow with Dunk's energy, but that's something, and it's on a list of other things that I didn't know that I needed to happen at this point in the tourney, but I'm sure we'll get into all that.
It had that kind of Western-y twang to it, which it worked so well, and I absolutely could not have been more thrilled, and I just felt like the way that was weaved throughout the episode really kind of drew us into this slow,
and the end was great too,
and windy kind of story.
Wistful,
but
headstrong,
and very earnest and very sincere, which is so much from these and I don't have a ton of experience with some of these, old Western or like old knightly tales, but in my mind, when I think about them, I think about the phrase earnest, like just very sincere in the way that they are telling these grandiose stories.
I think that's what they wanted to do with it, so it sounds like it works on you.
Yeah, so it's cool to kind of see that in this story, with just the way that Dunk sees the world and kind of his rose-colored glasses, especially as he looks back onto what Arlen taught him and what it means to be a knight, and then we get flashbacks to like kind of
young
who
Dunk.
Sir Arlen actually
was. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I loved that.
The last one was my favorite one.
Which one was the last one?
Whenever I believe it was Plumber that was asking him if he, the steward, if he had ever been like promised that he'd be a knight, or like he used to promise me that he was a knight, and then comes to him and he's chewing his food and he's just looking at him. That actually had some really great timing to it.
It was so sweet because Dunk is so he's dialed in, he's genuine, he has this grandiose view of what the world looks like. Meanwhile, how did he get that way when Sir Arlen is like knocking him over the head every 5 seconds?
That's part of it. It'll probably, I don't know. I mean, we know from reading the book that the soft spots that Sir Arlen had, like,
of course,
like for
with his
horses,
animals,
for example.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe that'll get more clear. In that vein, part of stuff we've been curious about leading into the premiere is how are they going to handle a lot of the internal monologue of Dunk that reveals so much about how he sees the world, and they literally just had him talk to himself.
Yes, they did.
Or talk to the horses, and I thought that worked so freaking well.
I love it. Makes him so sweet.
Yeah, it adds to that sort of I don't want to say bumbliness, but that quality that they're trying to really instill in him. It's real. I mean, it's tough for me to say with a definite feeling because I know I have such a inflated sense of how fun it was because we just watched it and there's been so much anticipation leading to this particular adaptation, let alone a brand new GOT show. But as far as an adaptation goes, it's going to be really tough for me to think of one that I think has been as successful as this.
Completely agree.
I mean, and not just translating the things that I wanted to see translated, but when I think of shows that are coming like the Potter show, I know that I want to spend more time in the place than the movie does. But the movie covers a lot of the points, but it doesn't give me the feeling, and it doesn't give people the feeling that don't read the books as well. And so those people that you want to share the story with, you're like, please just go beyond the adaptation and read the story, right? This does a really good job of giving us more space than we necessarily needed to tell the story. A lot of folks are on the fence because of episode run times. They don't think it's long enough.
Yeah.
And some of us have been thinking, well, how exactly are they going to fill it? Like you were thinking, Steely Pate's going to be in episode 1. Like there's no way that they're not going to establish a lot of these characters that are going to be along the arc of the entire season. And I thought, well, maybe he'll be in episode 2. And then in our conversation, we were looking at what would fill the time of all those things. And it was like, well, maybe there won't be enough. Like maybe we would be just spinning our wheels in an episode 1 if we didn't meet Steely Pate. So when you're adapting and you're also trying to write something that's good on TV, not just a good adaptation, what direction do you go in? Well, I think you have to add stuff. But when you're adapting books to a movie, they don't have to add stuff. They just take it away. So I've always been curious about how do you do a good job of that? Like with Lord of the Rings, the same thing happened there. It was just a movie. They were able to cut a lot of things. They had to cut a lot of things, so they didn't really have to do that extra work of space. So in this, they've agreed to adapt something that's a book, but it's also really short. So instead of needing to cut stuff out, they kind of needed to put some things in. So how do you do that?
I know.
With something that's so tightly written.
I know.
And I think that we're seeing a really good example of what I hope that, like I said, the Potter show does a good job of, because I know that they're going to take some risks and they're going to try to add some things in. We've seen from some of the leaks, and I just hope that they are as thoughtful and they work as well as some of these things did, because I really feel like the energy of what George was trying to get across with Dunk's arrival with the first day at the tourney, for example, was pretty successfully added in, and there was some pretty risky decisions too.
Well, it's exciting
when
it
really worked.
It's exciting when the spirit is captured so well. Look, like you said, you can show something to someone and say, "This is the thing." But I think that whole scene with the Laughing Storm with Lionel Baratheon and Dunk was
one thing I was thinking about. Very risky.
Super risky, but in my mind, brilliantly executed, because not only do we kind of get this fun, like the dancing scene, literally, I was crying laughing because I just thought that was hilarious. But we also get that conversation where the Laughing Storm is like, "What did you bring for me? Like, what are you doing here?" Basically. And Dunk is dumbfounded. He doesn't know what's going on. And he's like, "I'm just here to eat." And Lionel is so endeared to that
level of honesty.
Yeah, that he, they connect from there and go from there. But I think that it really captured very well how much of a rando Dunk is to this scenario in a way better than we could have had him explain or Egg could have highlighted. Like, it was a very great addition to show. He's showing up here with no reason to be here. He's not prepared. He doesn't have anything to wear. He doesn't come bearing gifts. He doesn't know who half these guys are. And I think that, what would their relationship look like? What would those two do? Because we knew they were interacting with each other early on in the season, instead of kind of Lionel being more of a storied character and then showing up at the end.
Yeah. It's definitely a different Lionel, but I think it's an updated Lionel.
Completely. And I
Lionel kind of had the same energy as a Baelor almost, both showing up. They're both sort of like bearded, and you don't really, their face is kind of smoky, And this is like I know the guy.
Completely.
And it's a different feeling without giving anything away. It's a different feeling by the time what happens, with your relationship with him.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's still like, I think, going to have a similar level of like wow to it.
Oh, completely.
Just different.
Just because I felt like he almost was a father figure for half a second. They were like father and son. They were like best buds. They were like lovers. They were like boys all in the same night, like all in the same like 2 hours. And I thought that was just, I just thought that was so unbelievably executed. And I just really liked the way that we got to see Dunk's naiveness, but not stupidity, just like bold, without thinking much. Yeah. Highlighted in a way.
Yeah, just really intelligently played out who he is, while interacting with the set pieces that were there and the people that were available.
Completely.
And it had to be added in. That's what my long-winded point I was trying to make is they had to add this stuff in, and it's just scary to me. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
So by also nailing so many conversations that I've played in my head from reading or that I've heard be narrated from a book, literally just flashback to those moments because they're word for word from the pages.
Like, how perfect was Raymond Foss?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But for those moments to work so well and to be so easily threaded in and so nicely threaded into the elements that bulked it into a larger feeling show, I'm just super impressed by it.
Same.
Super impressed by it. Like, for example, the scene with Plumber just had so much more weight to it, you know? And I think played around with some of that jarringness of taking the world seriously and trying to figure everything that you know about the world to prepare yourself for like a fresh set of eyes for the story, lingering in that conversation. And then it kind of fell away a little bit after that. By the time that you see the fight with the Fossaways, it's kind of slapstick, but it doesn't really like not fit in the world that someone would get bullied that way.
Completely. Yeah, completely.
And it works in the Hedge Knight as well, but the Hedge Knight also doesn't have all of these other very serious scenes added. These sort of frank conversations, like talking to the women outside the Dondarrion tent and inside of the tent whenever they're fixing the fake body and stuff like that. Like, there's these and all the conversations with Lionel before they were way drunk.
Yeah,
like the sober parts of it. Yeah, like even though there was an element of us knowing that he was playing a trick on him, that was still a lot more locked in than like a wistful sort of cowboyish fantasy music playing while the sun is shining beautifully.
Yeah,
because it's easy to trick me there that this rules.
Yeah,
but like, does this dialogue rule? Does it make sense? Like, are these characters good? Are they bought into it? Does it feel like it is supposed to be in the show, or does it feel like people sort of cosplaying the glory days of Game of Thrones?
Right.
And it didn't feel like that. It didn't
feel like that at all.
It didn't feel like that.
And especially when it comes to Daniel Ings, that's how you say his last name, Ings. I mean, George called him out specifically very early on as being somebody who brought this character to life in a way that he couldn't as an author because, book to page kind of situation. He called him out very early as being somebody who really stands out, and I can absolutely see why, because he was able to have this range that felt like we were completely at his mercy, but also his best friend, and without copying or trying to be some other character from a different Game of Thrones show. Like, he was very much embodied kind of his own style and created the Laughing Storm's aura for himself in a way that completely worked. And it didn't feel, it's like you said, things felt familiar without being callbacky, and we got some jokes. I really liked how Plumber said, he's making fun of Dunk, and he said, "Did you take a boot to the head? This is the Reach, not the Riverlands." Yeah. I just liked moments like that were kind of a wink to the audience of like, what this world is, and we're just going to talk about it with no grandeur. And they wove that in very well. I really appreciated that.
Yeah, it is still just a continuous reminder not to take it too seriously. It feels like.
Psst, don't tell us that.
Yeah.
Don't tell us that.
Good
no
luck.
one takes this more seriously than you and me. But yes, it's just nice to be able to so much about, especially A Song of Ice and Fire, you know, we're intense. So it's very highbrow, you know, like, or at least we try to pretend like it is, you know, we write essays and we do 2-hour-long podcasts and we're like, and, you know, but it's nice to have a little bit of a change of pace and a change of feeling without making fun of the source material itself or being too callbacky.
I just thought they did a really great job of still pulling it back to that, though. Like
pulling it back to
that. It had more weight and substance in it than the book does in so many conversations, because it needed to fill up all that time and it needed to express a lot of stuff that the tone of the book, you know, has a very specific tone. It's an attorney, you know, the way that we feel the heraldry, the way it feels to be on the edge of the tournament, and it reminds you that he's a hedge knight on the edge of the tournament. Here we have to physically see it, you know. It
really struck me like how separated he was from it all in the TV show.
Yes.
Because it's
so cool.
In the book, I
love the use of space.
Completely.
And how happy he was to see the tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the book, you know, he's under the tree. It is what it is. You know, he's kind of on the outskirts. It seems like everything's really spread out. But I like how he really very clearly separated himself in this instance.
And they had like a point. It showed him just interacting with it and not feeling safe there, basically.
Yes. And he says, he's like, I'm glad we're not here, you know?
Yeah.
It was excellent. They just...
How cool was the sequence of walking into the tourney?
That's what I'm saying. The
I did
music.
Watch that twice. That was very, very cool.
It was lively. It was busy. It was so awesome, and it looked exactly like I wanted it to look. Just the way he looks on those horses, on his horse.
All of the traveling footage was great. So much of it really felt new. Hats off to the people working on this, working on the cinematography and the director. Wish I had more of that info handy. We'll have a sheet of paper on the midweek episode, but for real, I just don't know what I was expecting. You know, I really wasn't expecting to be executed on such a smooth level like this.
Sure. Yeah.
Not that I expected it to be less than awesome, but it really, like I was hoping for, had the translation of the book in a way that would give other people the sense of the story that makes it so fun for us. So maybe that they would, you know, have fun with it too. Maybe it would be successful, because I think that if I've always thought when networks like HBO have the cash to throw at projects that are like viral literature successes, they usually are, you know, critically successful and make money, you know, for film companies or for TV networks.
Yeah.
And we're invading this universe, and we know Dunk and Egg is fun. Come on.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
But like also, I hope it's good.
I know.
And then it, you know, it is.
It is. So it was.
That's really all you can say about it.
And I don't think we're hyping it up too much. Like, I haven't seen any reactions yet, and so I'm looking forward to digging into those. But just anything, like, there was a couple things I was worried about going into it. One, that opening scene with the title sequence, which I don't like, which we can move past. But two, I was worried about, and we talked about this, like, I wanted Dunk to be dunk along thick as a castle wall, but not in an idiotic way. And I was really worried that Egg was going to be like a little bit more of a know-it-all, kind of not stealing, but he took some of his lines, you know. So I was just a little bit worried that Dunk would feel just kind of like an idiot.
It sounds like you're saying you're worried that both of those things would be one-dimensional about both of them.
Yeah, I was just concerned a little bit. Not overly, but I was so pleased. Two things are kind of coming to mind. I just thought the way that Egg seemed to really be warmed by Dunk, especially particularly that very last scene when he's smiling and they're just, I mean, there's immediately just love between them. And so while Egg tends to, or had pulled some of his, like, so the luck, you know, the luck is ours kind of line, it very much still felt like he wasn't talking down to him. It was like they were sharing this special moment together.
They were earning each other's vibe.
And Egg was so happy and just felt like, I don't know, I liked his humility, and I just liked how he was able to, from our view, kind of speak and move in a little bit more of a way because of how he was brought up. Mm-hmm. But he just is like this sweet little kid with his sweet little eyes, you know? I thought that was so great. And then I also really just enjoyed and appreciated Peter, our boy Peter, plays Dunk so unbelievably, in my opinion, in this episode, because he is so... It is hard. Like, I just like the guy, and people just like him. Like, he's just so... He has this... You can't help but like the guy, you know? And he has this warmth about him that so much embodies Sir Duncan the Tall. Just this guy who you can't help but root for him. You can't help but feel warmed to him. You can't help but be endeared by him pretty much immediately. And we saw that in most of the interactions we had, except for Stefan Fossaway. Mm-hmm. Most people, even the camp ladies, you know, warmed up to him and were like, oh, you know, you're right. I wasn't trying to be mean to you. Like, I'm really sorry. Or Lionel or Raymond or, you know, anybody else that we ran into. I just, that just hit really well for me. I was so pleased to see that.
Yeah, no, it could have just, basically what you're talking about is that these guys didn't play it straight, you know, so that there was predetermined dimensionality to their characters, you know, like I could smell the upbringing in Egg.
Yep, just enough.
It's enough flavor in it, and it's not just in the words, it's in the way that Dexter's playing it, and it's really subtle, and I think it's adding a little bit of mystery, and not just because he's bald, but it's like this, just like Lord Voldemort kind of qualities behind the scenes. Like, I don't know, mistrustful almost about the
like
thing.
What's this kid's deal?
But I just wish I could see it with fresh eyes, because I'd be curious to see how, you know, folks feel if they really connect him with the lady at the end, you know, and the inn itself and everything. And again, I'm curious how much people's attention has slipped past Daron that are casual viewers.
I don't know, though, because there was that when he slapped that coin down and had the dragon on it.
Yeah, that was heavy-handed too.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But it pulled away a little bit. It was a little bit rescued by the other, like the symbol on the hilt, and then also the money that the copper Dunk throws to
completely
Egg. So it saved a little, but
I agree.
Yeah, I think you were a little afraid that was almost like the dagger hilt being too clean from Hot D.
Yes.
It was, but that was the only really logo forward thing that I saw in this whole episode.
I agree, and I completely agree with you.
Which is crazy to think.
I was worried for half a step there when it was happening. I would kind of roll my eyes a little bit, but then it completely.
Should we not just freaking celebrate for that fact alone?
I know.
That is the only sort of logo-y moment that we even saw in this tentpole thing.
It was excellent.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what a relief. What a relief. I know it's only the first episode, and it's really hard to get this one wrong, you know, especially with the way that they, again, back to the rant I was on earlier, the way that the day is laid out, and with Steely Pate being in day 2, and with us going multiple times to the camp from the tourney, and there being that space and the time passing, like, that's like a pipe dream book adaptation.
Yes.
And it's scenes we didn't even have.
That's what stands out.
It made it feel even more like a book adaptation, you know, for lack of better words to say. And it just made it really feel like we were at Ashford. And so I bet it's so cool for George to see that. Like, knowing that stuff is added, knowing that Lionel's character is different, and there was this like gypsy breakdown, and knowing that the puppet show was changed and the scale was put up, like knowing all of that still, but watching it and seeing that, like, wow, we really are spending time at Ashford Meadow, and it has so much flavor and so much character, and it really feels like we added enough stuff to it, or the show is adding enough stuff to it that we spent a whole day there going back and forth, and we still don't know all the stuff that's at the tourney. We still don't know all the people that we can meet, or the stuff that we can get into, or what's going to happen. And as a viewer, we still don't even know if Dunk can get into the list.
Exactly.
It's really well done for the first episode. And it I think was, you were expecting them to really blow their load on the first one.
I think they did,
because they would need to. But I don't even, I mean, I agree, but I think that the adding of the things like Lionel instead of adding plot points is a really good sign, and it shows that we're getting a show that was done with the sort of book artistic energy forward versus like a more commercial meet in the middle approach from executives. You know, it seems like the trust was really put into the people putting this together, because it feels, again, without having a better vocabulary, like really art housey,
totally,
with a lot of these choices.
And we didn't need a joust.
The music tying that energy all together.
Yeah, we didn't need a major joust in episode 1 to kind of pull us in. But I think
we didn't meet a single Targaryen. We just had the coin.
Yeah. That's so true. And I think that's what gives me so much excitement and hope for the future is, yes, it is easy to get season 1, episode 1 right for so many different reasons, especially when you look at what this series is. But the fact that our favorite moments were moments, at least based on our conversation, were moments that aren't direct screen, book to screen, lifted narrative or lifted convo is what, to me, is the most special thing.
Yeah, they were television choices.
Yeah, it was absolutely excellent. And like another thing,
I can't wait to rewatch this.
Like I think about when he confronts Manfred Dondarrion.
Yeah, that
after
was an
the party.
Change, yeah.
Like I just thought I loved that change because it came off of the momentum of kind of just Dunk's brashness, and he just was like, he doesn't understand why that would be a wild thing for him to do,
right?
Like late at night.
It adds to the Dunk qualities that you've been liking, but it also like makes it more specific than a nondescript. I walked into his tent,
exactly,
and had an embarrassing conversation.
Yes, it was embarrassing. Even more embarrassing in a better way.
And it connected to Dunk's age a little bit more strong than some other things could have. Again, just really adding to the adaptation.
While being silly.
Rather than pulling it away and like covering it with a musical score.
Yes.
Or a fast travel scene.
Yes.
Like really bulking it up instead of.
That was also awesome, is that we were in Ashford Meadow. And I know that there's no other choice in this, but just the pacing between everything, we were wandering through and we were meandering around, and it was just awesome.
I liked how when you're watching the trailers and you're a person that's been exposed to the culture of television, and you see award shows and you see trends come and go, and you're like, oh, a new Game of Thrones show, huh? Oh, well, this one's got a kid in it, or you know, I'm trying to frame any kind of potential skepticism you could have when you watch this and you see the establishing scene and you realize, okay, this guy's the main character. It's going to follow him around. Peter Claffey's performance slips up on you. How much of the persona that he's carrying, like the actual character that he's carrying. And you can see it with Dexter as well, that it's going to be the same for him along the course of the series. And he's really, it's not the same Dunk from the book. It's got a lot of his own personal style that he's unable to shake off of him because he's an actor, you know, he's a real person. But it, I think, is carrying a lot of the same sort of weight and flavor that a lot of other shows with actors his age, HBO hopes happens. Yeah. So I think I think that if it stays this good, you know, if the show stays this good, that they're gonna have some good, you know, press fodder to play with these actors.
Big time. I
think that they're gonna see the value in it, and it kind of worries me a little bit about like, how do we take this newfound like attention, if the attention does go there, into the Sworn Sword. But luckily they're already filming it right now.
Exactly. So they can take that attention into the Mystery Night, which makes sense in my mind.
Exactly. and beyond. And then people can hate the show by season 4 or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
But for now, it's just really relying on this actor's chops. And his chops are really fun to watch. Yes. And Egg's chops are really fun to watch. And the performance is really from everyone. We're good.
Absolutely
fantastic. The shit was good.
It was really good. And I really can't wait for other people to see it and experience it. And I think like it's been a little quiet today, you know?
It has been.
It's been a little quiet. It's Sunday night. The show is airing late. People are claiming they didn't know anything about it. You know, I mean, I think like it's been a little quiet, and people just aren't interacting with things the way that they were before, you know, for so many different reasons. And so I just hoped it would be good enough, and I do think it's good enough that people are gonna catch on, and people are gonna want to sit and watch it as soon as it's released, and people are gonna be really excited because this is the next Game of Thrones show, and that, maybe the premiere was a little quiet from my perspective, but I think the episode far exceeded my expectations and will carry good. I mean, the buzz is going to carry itself, I think. I mean, this is going to be a show that people are going to want to see.
Yeah, it's neat. It looks good too. It sounds good. It's checking all the boxes.
I can't wait to watch it again.
Me too. All right, well, I think I'm just going to peer through this list of notes and make sure that there's not anything I left out that we can do owns. I've been trying to retweet some of y'all's while we're recording here. First note was, looks so good.
I wrote it's so good a lot too on my notes, so I shouldn't laugh at that.
Why did it have to be the tree? Intro truly made it feel like a tale. Targ coin is just money, but we're paranoid. I mean, I think that's the question I have about Daeron is was that so heavy that people immediately will think that he was a person of interest? And is that okay? I think it is okay.
It's okay.
Because otherwise it would probably feel like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
But, I guess need to rewatch it. But
I think based on the way
I don't know how much it'll matter to people.
I think based on the way the rest of the episode went, it's probably not going to stand out as much as I was like, oh, at first when I saw it. I don't think it's going to stand that out so much that it overshadows anything. It's just going to be enough to be something that people think about and we'll be able to call back to.
Yeah.
And I think
it's going to at least be something to call back to whenever we learn stuff.
There's room for weight just because of the way the narrative went. And so I have no problem with, I thought that I can't remember Darren's actor name off the top of my head. I'll have to grab
They've been keeping it secret till like 8 hours ago.
He was really good.
Yeah, he was.
He looked really good.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be a memorable character, even if it was a little pointed, but I'm okay with it. I loved right after that the way Egg says, "Your belt's made of rope." I just thought the tone of his voice there was so good.
The kids playing around Plumber, I thought was a really nice addition. Just sort of bringing down the seriousness of everything.
Yeah.
And the sort of pageantry of it and making it more down to earth.
Yeah.
This is the Reach, not the Riverlands. The first day, the evening, coming back and doing the laundry with the music playing and literally, knocking the fleas off, knocking his companions off.
Yeah. With the music again, like that whole scene, the music was just stellar.
Lionel said something when I was watching, and I forget. I just only wrote that I had the same thought about Dunk that Lionel had. So.
Have you ever been punched in the face before?
It was no. There was some thought. I'll have to rewatch and know. But I shared a thought about Dunk that I thought was hilarious. And I guess
is that why you slouched?
the dancing scene. Thoughts.
That was my all-time favorite. I never would have imagined that still.
It was like a gypsy carnival mid Ashford tournament.
We've been using that still a little bit of the two of them in the tent. I thought that was them just like chit-chatting, know? Never in my wildest dreams could I have ever imagined that it was them like stepping on each other's feet, dancing around in the middle of the tent. That was hilarious. I was crying laughing. I thought that was absolutely incredible. Like they're dancing. There's revelry. Just again, Peter Claffey's way that he is Dunk.
Yeah, his presence
is just so good.
Their presence together was so good.
It was magnetic. It was just And I think
made it feel like a real place.
Peter outshined everybody in there without doing it on purpose.
He just did so good.
So his dancing was hilarious. It was so good. Again, you can see why people are drawn to him.
Yeah,
which I'm so happy because that's who Dunk is.
Yeah,
and so that scene was just. Bar none, my all-time favorite of this episode. It was just it was hilarious. It was wonderful.
That quality of Dunk having slept on the ground so much that he doesn't really mind being in awkward situations or wearing a rope instead of an actual belt.
Yeah, he doesn't get it.
That being present in the story is fun to experience, and watching it play out on screen accurately and being like giving us more examples of it like that, like adding that example in and expressing it over the course of like an embarrassing dance scene, but then showing him like busting a move anyway.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting way to do it.
It's very pure.
They're taking it up a little bit. Like they're really exploring and like dumping in some. It's a little bit further of an exploration of like Dunk's wiggly qualities. But like whenever you're inside of his head and he's thinking about things, especially like Rohan Weber, you see like what he's really like.
Yes.
We're seeing a little bit more of that a little early.
Yes, yeah.
And he's in a little bit more of interesting scenarios than he is.
Mystery Night kind of celebrations. You know, we think about like the bedding. Like it just kind of, it felt a little bit more like that wedding may have been for him, and he's a little more free. And so
imagine what that's going to be like by the time this crew is doing the third season.
I know. It's very exciting. It's very exciting because I think that the more they embody and spend time with their characters, it's only going to get better. I
hope this is popular so they can really dial up the budget.
And I just want. Well, I don't know if we need to dial up the budget.
I just want them to get the pass. I want someone that is in charge, or someone that is responsible for putting this like Western-y fantasy vibe into our story.
I know.
To get a raise.
Yes.
And to be told to keep doing it, and for more things to be put down with this energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was a little nervous because this is our story, you know? And we've been seeing some clips over the week, and
I've been avoiding all the clips.
I've been watching them over and over again because I just have been so excited. And yeah, I don't think it like changed the way I saw it or anything, but you know, you want something to be good, and you want something to just care. I care so much, and I'm so happy that I'm this hype because it just, I'm, you know, beating a dead horse, but it
could have been a different combo.
Very good.
It could have been middle fun. I hope that everyone else feels the same way. If you don't agree, tell us.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
Tell us too. Continue to write in your own,
begins.
if you will. Hannah, would you like to share your own with everybody?
I've already said my own 5 billion times. It's Dunk and Lionel dancing in the. I loved the way that they were like stepping on each other's feet, and then Dunk takes it too far, and it was silly and lively, and then they're sitting down, heads close, just like deep in conversation. I mean, they captured that party vibe so unbelievably well. It was an amazing addition. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything that led up to that. I loved that whole scene. That's my own. It was excellent.
My own's really boring. Peter and Dexter for making Dunk and Egg good. Hell yeah.
Yes.
Super good.
So good. So, those are our owns.
I'm going to rewatch after we finish recording. So,
yeah.
Hope you all enjoy listening. It's Monday. We'll be back for more podcasting later this week. Continue to send in your owns. And what else we do normally when we're in season?
Keep an eye on our socials, because we'll be asking for some questions, or we'll be asking questions to get your thoughts and kind of feelings so we can add it into our conversation. And just looking forward to hearing what everybody else thinks about it. So you can find us on Instagram, on X by looking for Game of Owns. You can find us on YouTube, or you can send us an email to contact@gameofowns.com. Send in your own for season 1, episode 1, The Hedge Night.
Be back super soon.
Bye, everyone.